Hey, what's up YouTube? This is Fritz, and this is a 4-player no fate game where we attempt to go for the world record. The players in this game are myself, Fritz, I am George, iMrBeast, and B-Nath. So basically we went to the room of fate and nobody took a fate. All of us are just basically playing with a gun you start out with, and that's it. We're starting the game off. We're on round 40 boss. Takes a little longer to kill the monkey than normal because nobody has a firepower or a bird. You know, when you grab a vehicle or anything like that, we don't have fortune to make it last longer. So we're going to attempt to go for the world record here with no fate. The previous no fate record is by Derek and Rambo on Xbox. They did a 2-player to round 95, which was pretty impressive to get past 80 with no fates. So this game we did end up getting to 102, so we did beat that. We wanted to try it with 4 players just because 4 players is typically considered harder, a little bit more of a challenge. Because the reason why is there's so little armory that comes up in the game. The more players you have, you get the same amount of armory, whether you have 1 player, 2 player, 3 player, or 4. So the more players you have, the more people you have to end up splitting it with. So you saw that we beat the boss. At this point, iMrBeast is flawless so far. He hasn't died this whole game. We're on round 47, and this is when things start to turn for him as far as being flawless. I die right there. The zombies rush in. I'm trying to get there to save them, and you see that B-Nath goes down, and then and then iMrBeast goes right after him, and there goes his flawless game thus far, which was pretty impressive. I mean, to get to 40 with no fates flawless was one thing, but to beat it was a totally different thing. But you see, we're pretty much doing the same strategy as a 4-player game. 3 guys camping in the corner, 1 guy running them around. Here's the 80 boss, and unfortunately my PVR computer froze right just about now in a couple seconds here, so we don't get to see the boss round. But we went in hurting fairly bad, not a whole lot of lives, not a lot of armory, and we barely beat this one. We pretty much had no lives and no armory coming out. So here's round 82. We're still doing this same thing, camping in the corner, which is pretty impressive to do with no fates. We're trying to build, basically the main priority is get our lives up a little bit, but we really want to try to get our armory up. You see that we're all, pretty much still hurting on armory, trying to get it up a little bit at this point. We came out of the boss round with nearly none, so we're starting to get it up a little, trying to build lives as we go. The funny thing is there was another game, 4-player game of some friends of ours that were on PS3, and they started their game about the same time we started ours, and they were at this point about the same time we were at this point, and they had fates, and they were trying to camp the corner like we were, and they couldn't do it. So I thought that was pretty funny that they couldn't do it while they had fates, and we were still doing it while we did not have fates. Here's a little point where you just saw last round we got double doored and they're still holding it down. Well, here's a point where we get double doored. We even got triple doored for a second there, and we are still holding it down. I'm trying to pull doors, move from door to door, pulling as many zombies as I can. And you're starting to notice that our armory is starting to get up there. Lives are going to come. We're not too worried about lives so much. Oh, here's a nice little part where I'm just about in the water, and I don't know how I made it out of that point right there. The zombies are forcing me into the water. I almost go in it, and the only thing keeping me alive is the fact that I'm right on the little rim in the quicksand there, going really slow, but still shooting them. So here we are around 89. You know, our armory is, you know, my armory is not looking good, but everybody else's is. You know, the goal was just get to prison break with our armory as full as can be, because we'll get our lives up on prison break. This is where we, you know, we weren't too worried about lives before this point, because you earn 2 lives every round. We figured those guys should be able to stay alive up there on prison break, up on top of the catwalk. So that's 8 lives they're going to get if they don't die at all, plus they'll probably earn 1 or 2 lives throughout this arena. So I'm trying to build my lives and my armory back up these 4 rounds, and because I don't have feet, you know, I have to pretty much use this whole map just to kind of maneuver around the zombies. Right now we're at the beginning of round 92, and you can see our lives are coming back up. I'm getting my armory up as well. I've got it 7 times. I've held on to it for a while. It'd have been a little bit nicer if we would each had probably 1 or 2 more lives. Then we would have for sure been able to come out of here with 9 lives each, but we're getting close. We have a little bit of a shot at getting there. Depends on when we get the last life, but we don't end up getting it until we get into 93. But for a no-fate game, I'll take it. It was a pretty good fight just to get our lives back up and our armory back up to this situation. You see George coming out spinning, basically telling me that I'm about to earn a life. We figured we might as well try giving it to B-Nath. He was definitely not going to earn his next life, and he was low on lives, and I've got a little bit of a shot at still getting my lives back up. I think I've at 6 lives right now, so I might earn 1 or 2 more by the end of the round, and we might even get another free man. So we figured might as well try to even them out a little. So at the end of 92, we're at 8 and 7 lives between the 4 of us. So for a no-fate game, I'll take it. Our armory's not looking too bad. So now we're at the end of 93. You can see there's 1 pole on the map. So we were hurting a little bit, but the other guys did pretty good at keeping their lives up and really using no armory, which helped me a lot. But we go into 94, we start getting a little bit more poles, so this round wasn't as bad as the first. But it's still pretty difficult trying to, you know, keep your lives up and save as much armory as you can, because with 4 players, there's really not a lot of armory for all of us to be using armory. So the other guys are trying their best to conserve as much armory as they can, yet keeping their lives up. So now we go into 95, and as you can see, our lives are starting to hurt a little bit more. Our armory is starting to come down. I'm not sure how George does it, but he's starting to really become a really good player, keeping his lives up, using virtually no armory, with no fade on round 93 through 95. It's starting to really impress me. Watching a moment here, see the helicopter. We're trying to maneuver away to get over to that helicopter. Beast pulls the zombies down, and we both shoot the same zombies right in sync with each other, because we know that little inflection point where we need to kill the zombies to be able to get into the helicopter, and we just execute that perfectly. It's always nice when you get a helicopter in a game like this. It's getting this difficult and having that little break, because as you can see, you know, like I said, my lives are hurting, my armory's hurting, I'm hurting all over the place, and these guys are doing their best to try to help make it as easy as they can for me. At this point, it's getting close to 5 o'clock in the morning, and Beast has got to think about getting ready to go back to school for the week. So he's basically telling us that when we beat 96, that he's done, he's going to back out. We're going to go on a sleep break and finish the game without him, essentially. And B-Nath wanted to go do some things on Sunday as well, so he's considering leaving. And it ends up basically just being George and I after we beat these rounds. Those two guys backed out. They didn't time out or lag out or anything, but you know, basically our lives went right down to 0. You can see Beast used all his armory to try to help us out because he knew he was leaving. You can see his light bulb go on. He's turning his PlayStation off. And in a second you'll see iMrBeast timed out because he's got plans to do the next day. So George and I take a break. B-Nath's gone. We come back the next day. Here we are, around 100. We're having a hard time building back up, so we had to resort to just basically, I'd score boost George. We were really hoping that we could get his armory up and get his lives up so that I could start getting my armory up, but the game was just getting too difficult at this point. George is getting his lives up, but you know, then there'd be times where he wouldn't be able to stay alive that easy. It just got too hard. So here's our last round, round 102, and you can see George just gets his 3rd dog bite. We've got no lives left. He's reviving. I've got a little bit of armory, hopefully trying to make it the 60 seconds, and well, you'll see what happens in just a second. I go around, about ready to face my doom. Game's just about ready to be over. Come over here, running up the stairs, and bam, a downpour drops and smacks me right there on the spot. So we didn't end up doing it. We were thinking in the back of the minds it'd be nice to get to 120 with no fate, but after that cow arena we had a feeling that that wasn't going to happen. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.